But you mentioned, one of the things that you mentioned that just really, I'm really interested in is this Gullah Geechee connection to Sierra Leone. Me being from South Georgia, unlike you, I don't have an extensive documentation. You know how that, you know how it is here. Yeah. There's not extensive documentation in my family to show where exactly we come from. My grandfather ended up being an orphan early on in life. My grandmother's family is from that deep South area. So is my grandfather's, but we don't really know. We've always been called Geechees, but you know, during that time, it was like, oh, these Geechee, them damn Geechees over there, and it was like, don't call us that, like, you know, don't call me no Geechee. Don't you do that. Like you said, it was like, that's worse than calling somebody a nigga. And as I've gotten older, I'm asking my mom, I'm like, okay, now they used to call us Geechees all the time. Is there something to that? And she's like, well, she's 72, so she kind of like, I don't know, maybe, and, you know, all of that. But we are from the Low Country, and I wonder, like, so those people who are maybe somewhat removed from the space, but through some oral tradition, they may have a little tinkling in their ear. How would somebody like me find out if I do have a Gullah Geechee connection?
That's a good question, actually. There's various ways to determine, in my own understanding. I think I was telling you before, you can ask a basic question and, you know, someone else will answer it differently. Everyone might not necessarily agree with my own analysis, my own understanding. But I think that, first of all, when we say Gullah Geechee, we have to say that the name, the people, the culture, the language is inseparable from a specific region in the world. And that's the southeast coast of North America. No one can deny that.
Right.
You know, Jamaicans are specific to a specific place, a specific location in the world. No matter where they go, now they're always going to be connected to what? Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Right? So how would your ancestor be enslaved in Jamaica and you not be a Jamaican today?
It's impossible.
Even if you was born in New York.
You're still a Jamaican.
So if we're a Gullah Geechee nation, we developing our nationalism, we getting back to our roots. Then was you in the region? Was your people on the land before 1865? Were your ancestors enslaved in the place that the United States federal government has labeled the U.S. Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor? That's what would make you a Geechee. Whether your family self-identify or not. That's why they would call your family Geechee, even though they didn't like it. Because they say, oh, you from that place and them people, when you eat that rice, you're a Geechee. That's why. People know what they're looking at. When we went up to New York, people go up to New York, up in Philly, they would do, oh, you Geechee. You're Geechee. It was an identity. And so the reason why one, there was a jealousy of it. Let me tell you that. We had our own language, we had our own lands, we had our own farms, we had HBCUs, we had our own. And even though we were segregated, we were producing the mass majority of things in the cities because it was our kids that was going to New York and going to Pittsburgh and going to Detroit. The elders stayed home on the land and the sick people and the young people. But as soon as you was able to go up top, you was gone. Now, if you get caught up in the streets and go to jail, or you go up there and get murdered, or you go up there and have a baby with somebody on a one-night stand, and this, then you can see why we don't know exactly who we are. And when we understand that, you would say, okay, well, we need to define ourselves in a way that's going to allow us to identify everybody. You want to say, well, I asked my grandmama, she told me she don't know, but we from St. Helena though. St. Helena, that is Geechee. You're Gullah. I'm Jamaican. I'm not Jamaican. I'm a Maroon. What the hell?
Yeah, I think for us, like, because my grandfather was orphaned at, he was around 13, and like that's when he like became a man.
That's some solutions for you though. I can help you.
Okay.
Help you. I was going to say, that's what we do. There's many people who come into even knowledge of Gullah Geechee. Like, you heard it before. There's people who never heard it before that now know that they're Gullah Geechee. You understand? Because they encountered us, and it's something about research. It's something about what our parents and ancestors didn't know that they couldn't tell us, and if you ask them, they might be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
And kind of get out of here, and I don't know that much, just to kind of, so you don't keep pushing, because they don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And that's real. My mother knew things that other people her age in the family didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was real. It was, you know, and so that's the thing. You can go that old oral tradition route, gather that. But once you gather that, we strongly promote genealogical studies.
Okay.
You know, get you an account on Family Search. It's free. You know, things like that. In your case, I will tell you what happened with my wife. They told my wife that her grandma was an orphan. Whole family believed it. Everybody thought it was true. And she took a DNA test. And come to find out, that wasn't no orphan. That was her real siblings and shit like that. And so they had to go back and remix their whole family story because of a Ancestry DNA test that found cousins that said, no, we blood. The story said they was adopted, but the blood said they was siblings. And so you got to that too. And then when you do genealogical research, you're going into death certificates, birth certificates, military records. You know, every dude that serves in the military, they have a file. My ancestor has a file, 120-page file, sitting in the federal government from the time when he served in the Civil War.
Wow.
And in that is a biography. He had to answer questions to enter. He had to tell them things to get his pension. All that's there. It's all there. So once you understand, like, you got to find the right ancestor that'll point you back to the rest. It's a search. But if you just say, oh, well, you know, grandfather was, you know, adopted. Nope, you know, we got called Geechee, but we ain't Geechee. It's just indicative of the confusion. You know, it's like if you have a knot that you need to, you know, untangle, and you can untangle it, but you don't believe you can untangle it.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that, because my family is in a town that's like 80 miles maybe from the coast. But my grandfather was a logger, and he was the only logger that they would allow in Darien to pulp wood out of there. He was the only one.
You know about Darien, Georgia?
Yeah, my granddaddy and my granddaddy and my uncle were the only pulpwood loggers that they would allow in Darien to come in and take wood out. So I asked Mama, I was like, well, why? Why would they only let them come in and take wood? I was like, there has to be a reason why they were the loggers that they came in. I don't know the truth, but I believe it must be because he's family.
I'm trying to tell you something. And you know what's crazy about what you're saying? Before there was roads and railroads and all that stuff, there was rivers. And South Carolina and Georgia, from the coast all the way inland, is mighty rivers, from the Savannah to the Congaree, you know, from the Edisto. They got rivers that go up. And that's why that area mirrors Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is the same way. They're about the same size, same shape and everything. And as you go down the coast, every so many miles, you meet a big river. And so you can travel by boat, upline far into the land. And and that's how they was transporting lumber, because one of the number one things that they were selling at these major ports was shipbuilding supplies,
right,
wood, this, that, but that stuff wasn't at the coast. They had to get that from the interior. This is what caused them to now start venturing into the interior. My question is this: where did the Africans 80 miles away from the coast come from?
That's what I said.
Listen, not only that, right? But let me tell you something, right? South Carolina was a majority Black population. Georgia was a majority Black population throughout slavery.
Right.
Throughout, you understand? And when you understand that, you're like, hold up. So that's different, because we wasn't majority in Virginia. That's something to consider. That means that the majority of the people in South Carolina was speaking some form of Black American English.
Absolutely.
Because it was us. And the people at the coast had a Creole. And let me tell you what a Creole is. You have something called pidgin. You know what a pidgin is? A pidgin is when, like me, like you want to sell me a watch. I'm a French man, you an English man. How are we going to communicate so you can understand and I can understand how we're going to make this money? It's only a trade language. It's for exchange. It's no one's first language. Pidgin is nobody's first language. No one talks to their babies in pidgin.
Right. But
what happens is that when the Europeans came here to trade with the various African-speaking traders, they begin to develop different variants of pidgin. So, so if an English person talks to a Mende person to sell a watch, and then he says, okay, well, I want to go sell a watch to a Yoruba, that pidgin gonna be different, because that Yoruba is different. The English might be the same, but that Yoruba is different than that Mende. So that pidgin would be diverse. It would be localized. And so those pidgins had developed along the coast around the trade centers for 200 years before the British even got involved. It was the Portuguese first. So there was already a primitive Portuguese pidgin that was developed before the English ever came. All that means is that the people here was already engaging and developing a system of trade communication with Europeans. The only thing changed was the European.
Right.
So by 1670, when the people from Barbados left there to go settle South Carolina, 1670, they went there because they wanted to be off the island. They wanted to be on the mainland where they can have land abundance, because Barbados was the first Caribbean nation that was formed with a slave economy. They had no other kind of economy, just slavery. So they ran out of land quick, and they had more interest in land. And they was like, yo, we need to go, poop. They ended up in South Carolina. That's how you get Charleston. Yeah.
Right.
And so they came already from a Caribbean island where it evolved a whole economy and way of life around slavery. They brought that same thing to South Carolina, which was different than anything else in any other colony in America at the time. Right. That's the first thing. South Carolina was founded by people coming from Barbados who had already had a slave economy. That's one important thing. Another important thing is that they already was developing a first language Creole, because they had already been snatched from their families and their languages in Africa and was already being groomed into understanding European language. So they were already developing an English-based Creole when Charleston was founded. Right. And the white man took his Africans. So in 1750, Bunce Island, Sierra Leone it became a private commercial enterprise. And from 1750 to 1774, over 25,000 Africans were taken from Sierra Leone directly to the port of Charleston. They populated the island of Sapelo Island with 300 of them. Thomas Spalding died in Darien. You understand, right? So there's these families are the mothers and fathers of that whole group. It was these people who, once they were divided and broken down into plantations, still managed to marry, still managed to have love and make babies. And we're them. And so that's the thing that we got to understand about this whole situation. It's a continuum. No one's creating anything. No one's starting something new.
Right.
It's recognition that there's a precedence for everything that's happening now, and that we are in full ancestral alignment with that. You understand, right? And so I just because it's on my spirit, yes, the Gullah Geechee Nation of North America gave me a title and made me a chief. But based on the merit, just like with your husband, the people here, the family that adopted me here, said, no, man, you need to be recognized everywhere in this country as one of us. And if you're a chief for your people, you need to be over here helping us with this shit too. So I was approached again so that I could have status here based off what I've been doing here. And so on my 40th birthday, I was coronated in a traditional Mandingo village by the Mansaray family whose name I carry. So that's how I am a chief. I don't know how other people are chiefs.
Yeah.
I was young. I didn't really want to do it. I was like 37, 38 or something like that. I'm like, man, no chief, man, what you talking about? You know? But I bit the bullet, so to speak, because we was doing the work. And so now our unincorporated community is now a nonprofit organization with 501c3 status in the United States of America. And we still operate as a chiefdom. And the mission that we started here, like I said, it's a nonprofit company now. We have a tourism license. We've been able to secure several citizenships for people who have the DNA to prove that they come from here. We're running the campaigns for this country to open up and give citizenship to Gullah Geechee people without DNA, because our ancestors came back to Freetown among the founders. That's why they speak Creole now, because we evolved the mother tongue Creole on them plantations in isolation of the white people. And during the American Revolution, when we wanted to run away, we ran to the British side. They took us to cold-ass Nova Scotia. We campaigned and came back and founded Freetown 230 years ago. You hear me? So nothing we doing is new. It's all continuation.
And, you know, you just mentioned something that is a huge discussion.
Sis, hold up. This thing is at 1%. Let me try to do something real quick.
Okay.
I might have to call you back on the other thing.
Okay.
You want to try to?
I'm gonna pause.
All right, cool. Pause.
So, you have been in Sierra Leone for 9 years now.
Well, yeah, February 15th will make 9 years.
Wow. How have you ever come back to the States?
I haven't. I wanted to. I still might soon. But the way COVID is looking and the way that my work is looking and what I really got my eyes set on here in Africa, I mean, there's really no reason. You know, I have a son, I have a grandson. You know, my son is 21.
Wow.
My grandson will be 3 this year.
Oh.
So like everybody is living their lives. Everyone is doing their thing. And, you know, I will eventually go back. Yeah. I have to, of course. Yeah. But I didn't come here to play. I came here to stay.
Absolutely.
You know, I've been building the relationships that's necessary for me to have a burial plot here. You understand? I'm not thinking about how I'm going to go back there and jump back in the rat race, and you know, if people going, you know, if the police going to shoot me, or man, look, I'm cool. I'm cool.
I think as a Black man, you have done the best thing you probably have. That's probably the best decision you ever made in your life, was to leave here. As a Black man, as a strong man, as a I mean, as we've talked about, you're a big guy, you're a dark skinned guy, you already come off, you don't come off yourself, but just your presence alone is enough for these motherfuckers, excuse me, for these people to feel intimidated. Like they just gonna be intimidated just because, just your whole stature. And you know, I was sitting here as I was talking to you earlier, and I thought about how, you know, there's this thing where hold on. There's this thing where, you know, there's this man, you've seen it, where they talk about like Black men and Black women. And I always say that there's a certain kind of Black man that makes women and men naturally bring it down. And I caught I was sitting here as we were talking, and I'm like, you have that thing that makes like a person like me, who's people call me an alpha female all the time. I don't consider myself that, but whatever. But I found myself feeling like, okay, I can just, because you got it, like you got it. And you're the kind of men like you, and my husband is like that. You guys are the kind of men that we need on the continent. We need y'all. We need y'all in leadership. We need y'all to do what you're doing. And I take my hat off to you for being able to take what your starting life takes many of our men either to hell or jail. And you were able to take it back to our home continent. And I take my hat off to you, brother. Like that is some big stuff right there. Like,
thank you.
You know, you just I'm proud of what you and Kenya are doing. One thing I do right before we stopped, I was gonna ask about, there's this, you know, in Ghana, a lot of the conversation is surrounding citizenship, and you mentioned citizenship in Sierra Leone. And I've seen that you all have been able to make that happen for some of our folks who have repatriated to Sierra Leone. And I don't think Sierra Leone gets enough attention as far as repatriation goes. What is happening in Sierra Leone and what has transpired from 91 to now is like such a drastic change. And to now see more of us starting to come to Sierra Leone and even embrace the idea, because, you know, all we've ever seen about Sierra Leone is blood diamonds. That's all.
Recent. That's very, very recent.
Right.
That means that we don't know who we are.
Exactly. And so, you know, for the most part, when we talk about Africa, we just say Africa. They just, you know, you see the commercials on TV here and they say, feed the children in Africa. Like Africa is this little small country where you can just send a few dollars and it's just gonna change everything. When in fact, Africa is a continent with 54, 55 countries, and every country has its distinct stuff going on. And in Sierra Leone, you've been there for 9 years. You've established yourself as Fambo, and I want to know, what is it that people have to do to become a citizen of Sierra Leone? Like, what's the process?
Okay, like you said, every country has its own laws, you know, its own process. I can just tell you what's on the books and tell you what's actually happening here. You know, there's a lot of people who think, I mean, they just selling passports. Oh man, must be a gimmick. Oh, Sierra Leone ain't got nothing to offer us. Oh, that must be why the DNA test is showing us Sierra Leone. And I'm hearing all kinds of things.
Right.
That's just people who don't know who they are. These people who have never stepped foot in Freetown, stepped foot and seen the people in the country that look just like their aunties and uncles. These are people who ain't been here yet.
Right.
And I understand it. Sierra Leone, originally, for us, the African diaspora, particularly the African Americans, is our first point of return. The first place that anybody who ever was formerly enslaved in the United States of America ever came back to and settled a new town and place is Freetown. And I live here now. And Freetown used to be called the Athens of West Africa during the 1800s, because for 50 years, the British Empire ruled the rest of these British-speaking countries from Freetown. And everybody used to send their people here to go to school, so they can have doctors in Nigeria, so they can have scientists and lawyers in Ghana. So you have to understand what Sierra Leone is, and particularly because of Freetown and what Freetown is. Our people, you can't take our people out of the history of Freetown and it be a Freetown. We literally were the people who were formerly enslaved that came and built a free town in Africa. And when you go check the records, those people was coming from Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. It was coming from the same place that the United States federal government now admits is the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor. Yeah. So what was them people? And so it's obvious that they were speaking a Creole language like my daddy said my mama was, because they call their language and their community Creole.
Creole.
That Creole is the mother tongue language evolved by us on plantations and brought back. And so when people understand this thing, they really know that for the last 230 years, Freetown has been in existence. The first attempt was 5 years before Freetown. So we're talking about 235 years of exodus from the hells of America.
Absolutely.
During plantation, colonial era, to now, where people act as if, oh, Chief, what made you go to Sierra Leone? Oh, you're so strange. What? Because they don't know the history.
Because they don't know.
They have no idea of the connection. You know, Liberia is commemorating this bicentennial this year. There would be no Liberia without no Freetown. The people that first came to found Liberia stopped in Freetown for years before they went on down and went down and established Monrovia. So where did they learn how to survive in Africa at? You see, when there was Africans who were being taken from all up and down this western coast of Africa, and the boats taking them to America would be intercepted by the British. There was black men on them boats from Freetown. And when they brought them back to Freetown, emaciated, chained up, hungry, who you think fed them? Who you think housed them? Who you think cleaned them and gave them a trade and gave them everything we thought that they could use in our society freely as Pan-Africanists, as people who came back to Africa for freedom's sake? We didn't just come back and found Freetown City. We also helped the people, our brothers and sisters who came 3 decades after us. We helped them establish the Liberia too. We housed them. If they got sick, we hosted and guided them people.
Yeah.
So Freetown was the first destination. And there is no modern Pan-Africanism without it.
Absolutely.
Liberia became the first Black republic in all of Africa.
Yep. 200
years ago. Founded by us. You know how you like, man, you know, my granddaddy or whatever, man, you know, they adopted them and all that, you know, I don't know where I come from. You'd be surprised You'd be surprised what shows up. Me and my big cousin just took a DNA test, and he found somebody in there. He didn't know who they was. They had a strange name. He was like, "Yo, who's this?" As soon as I seen the name, I knew it was a Mende name, because I've been here long enough to know the distinction in names. I said, "Yo, it's a Mende name, bro. Fatia, she Muslim? Was she Mandingo? Was she? I already knew how to put the name into the identity." Mm-hmm. Man, within 2 weeks, we had tracked her down in Virginia, had her on the phone. She explained how she took the DNA test. She went to America, married to a Black American brother. He was doing his research. She just did it because he was doing it. Had no idea that a cousin from Orangeburg was going to hit her up with another cousin in Freetown already. She's like, what the fuck? You know? So this is happening for real. It ain't nobody trying to game nobody up.
Yeah, it's happening for real.
Know? And it couldn't happen unless we come here and venture and see what the hell is going to happen when we get here.
Yeah.
And so that's very important. So I think that people have ignorance of Sierra Leone, and I think that perpetuating the negative stigmas and stereotypes of any place only makes it justifiable when you do it wrong. It's like if every time a stuck-up girl walks past a bunch of dudes that's trying to hit it, and she like, get out of here, I don't want y'all, I don't want y'all. You know what I mean? They're creating a certain environment for her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If something ever happened to her and she ended up raped and dead in the building somewhere, ain't they suspicious?
Yep.
Because why? They created an environment.
They created an environment. Yep.
You understand? So this is what colonialism and all that does. It creates the environment for perpetual oppression and exploitation. Mm-hmm. And so what I think about Sierra Leone more is that I come from a history and a legacy of redemption, starting with a little bit and developing with what you got as far as you can go. No problem with that. Mm-hmm. And I know that nobody's perfect and no country is perfect.
Right.
Nowhere. You know, some people hide their corruption better. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is that every ill that you can say is in Sierra Leone exists in America. And in America, some of them are even more,
it's more.
It's horrible.
It's more.
You understand? So my thing is, it depends on what you want to do when you come back and where you're trying to go. There's been a lot of promotion, a lot of marketing for cultural diplomacy, people trying to change the image of their countries, trying to make you feel as though they're ready to embrace you and do good for you. But the reality is they're just trying to get some money real quick. Yeah. And then there's other countries seeing like, yo, that shit worked for Ghana, it can work for us. And now it's like, yo, you know, fuck. So people are now looking at us to do that there in their countries too.
Yeah.
You understand? And Sierra Leone has been given citizenship to people who have DNA evidence from one company. There's other companies out there, but only one company that promotes itself as being the African company within. And they charge the most out of all the companies. And they say they destroy all evidence, but how will we ever know? Yeah. How will we ever know? Either way it goes. Yeah. But, you know, it gives people a sense of security that they're dealing, first of all, they buying Black, you know. Secondly, there's some tangibilities, you know, somehow, some way, you know, people are actually creating opportunities with this that has some tangibilities. One of them tangibilities is citizenship. Mm-hmm. Citizenship here in Sierra Leone, according to the Constitution, you can be naturalized. You don't have to just come here with some DNA and get it like that. You can be naturalized by living in the country as a permanent resident. It doesn't mean you have to stay here the whole time, but you have to have the residency for 5 years. You got people that's been in Ghana 20, 25 years, they ain't got it. You got people who got in Gambia 15 years to naturalize. So right now on Sierra Leone's books, 5 years permanent residency will get you the grounds to now go and seek your citizenship. My wife right now is in that process. When she came, she had a visa first. We didn't know that. Then an immigration officer explained it to us like, yo, this is the way to do it. Okay. And after 5 years of permanent residency, by that time, maybe you already bought some land, you done started a business, you got a little record of what you contributed, you know what I'm saying? You know you want to stay. After that amount of time, you know what I'm saying? You assess the ground there, assess the ground is worthy moving forward. Right. Now that's the naturalization. That's like when people come from here and go to America and become citizens, they got to prove that they want to be American citizens. You don't just show up, yo, I'm a refugee, give me citizenship.
Right.
You know? And so it's the same thing with us, you know? When we come back, no matter what country you go to, they have a time limit. And Sierra Leone is 5 years. Mm-hmm. So that's one good thing that people don't know. The second one is that you don't have to get citizenship in order to be able to do everything but vote in Sierra Leone and own land freehold. So in order to freehold own land, you have to be a citizen. You can leasehold up to 99 years, but you can freehold with a plan to become a citizen within 99 years and then turn your leasehold land into your freehold land. So it's things that people don't understand about how you slowly start with where you at and what you got and move and know that maybe in 5, 10 years, the law's going to change. Maybe I got a little bit more money. Maybe I got my naturalized citizenship. This ain't going to be leased land no more. This is going to be freehold land. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you know what I mean? So people aren't thinking like that because they're not confronted with it. So that's one thing. Now, just to back up about the citizenship that they've been offering, I want to say, I know I was laughing and joking. I like the free talk. People take me wrong because I'm direct. Sierra Leone, out of all of the countries in Africa, no matter what DNA test or company you're talking about, is the first and the only one since Isaiah Washington to say, you know what? This DNA test say you got our blood. We believe in science. Mm-hmm. We can see your futures. Mm-hmm. Sierra Leone has suffered because all of its population was stolen away. Mm-hmm. If y'all want to come home and you got this document saying you're already a citizen, bro, with this document. Mm-hmm. You one of us. That means that now you don't have to be naturalized. Mm-hmm. You're going to become a citizen, but you're becoming a citizen based on birthright. Right. So that's the thing. Now, Isaiah Washington was the first one to do it. He came over, got his DNA test. Early on, African Ancestry was giving DNA tests to a bunch of celebrities so that it would become popular to normal people. And, just to promote the science and things like that. Mm-hmm. I ain't knocking them. I appreciate them, Right. But this conversation is bigger than just a scientific DNA test. Yes. And I've been calling names all night. I don't want to leave nobody out. African Ancestry has been doing this great work and promoting and really understanding what it is that the diaspora is looking for. Sometimes even more than what the people who take the test know what they're looking for. Yeah. Now, I think it's very interesting that they developed the DNA company and developed the database and focus just on African and destroy the documents, and $300 ain't that much money. I dig it. I got it. I understand. For to restore our lineages, there's no price that's too much. Right. First of all, that doesn't mean that it can't be cheaper. It just means that that's what the price is. Right. And so what happens now is that Sierra Leone has accepted a Hollywood actor now, Isaiah Washington. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Washington comes back, they give him a citizenship. First African-American, first African in the world ever to be granted a citizenship based on DNA evidence. DNA evidence. Mm-hmm. His ancestors were from here. and they gave him a citizenship. And many people didn't understand what that meant. I think they just kind of thought it was cute, you know?
That's big.
But it has so many implications.
Yes.
And so what happened though is that he got his citizenship, and that was pretty much it. He has his own foundation here. He does a few things in his village where they accepted him. I'm sure, I know he's done some things during Ebola. I'm not knocking Isaiah Washington, you know, at all. I'm just saying the story. But I'll tell you that the door wasn't left open for the rest of us. He was given his citizenship, and then there was no policy and no plan for what was going to happen with the normal African American that
everybody else, yeah.
And so when I got here in 2013, you know me, I thought, shit, I'm Gullah Geechee, man. My people founded Freetown. Shit, I deserve citizenship, you know, by historic value. Just look, we the same people. And but man, people politicize everything or commercialize it. But what happened is that during Ebola, after Ebola, people started to retake interest in Sierra Leone. And my wife came here 3 weeks after Ebola was over. That's the only thing she was waiting for to meet me here. She's been here 6 years herself. I was here 3 years alone. But when she came, other people started reaching out to us like, yo, I'm about to come over there. Can you help me out? I don't know nobody. Asking for services on the strength.
Yeah.
Asking for tourism and accommodations on the strength. Wouldn't do it for a Booker, wouldn't do it to an Arab, but this on the strength. Just because I'm an activist, just because I say that I love Black people, you think that I'm not supposed to eat. And so basically, that it wasn't even about that then. I never came here to be involved in tourism. Even now, my wife is she runs it. She's the manager. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it came with it because as people start to become more interested, boom, people start coming. Now, in 2015, when she came, December, we was already doing our thing. It was very early on with the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone. We was making connections with the government, making connections with other groups. And our former Paramount Chief, Harold Hillary, he contacted me and told me about a brother who has Timney descent, and told me the brother wanted to come over here. And I was like, man, no doubt. Let's send him over, like family. Came over, stayed in our house, took him to his village, got his name, same kind of thing you see us doing now. But it wasn't considered tourism. It was just like, I'm helping do connect, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't run it like that. You know what I mean? We ain't charge him. He you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was on the strength. And so, but before he came, me and my wife had already been talking about this citizenship thing. And I was telling him, man, we need to just go to the government and ask them, like, yo, what's up? Why they lock the door after Isaiah Washington? And before the guy came for his tour, we wanted to go down to the government and have a conversation with them, because one of the things he said he wanted to do was approach them about that. And it was something that we wanted to do too. So we was like, you know what? Let's go down here and set up that meeting. We went to the Monuments and Relics Commission, which is part of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism here. They run this whole DNA thing you see happening. It runs through them. So I went there. There was a chair lady there. Her name was Isa Smith. She's a cultural icon here, man. She's done so much to try to promote the traditions and the culture. She's done a lot of work. That's why she was in that position. Went to her, told her, I've been here a couple of years. My wife just got here, man. We got people coming. And we Gullah Geechees, we feel like we right at home, citizenship or no citizenship. But there's people coming back that their only connection to Sierra Leone is a DNA certificate. And y'all gave blood already to somebody. Y'all gave citizenship to somebody already. So now you got to explain why you're not going to give it to the rest. And we had this conversation, literally. And what we was told was that when the brother comes, bring him. And then we can have a conversation and put a process in place, because you have every right. We was told at that meeting that those who come back with citizenship proving that they have Sierra Leone ancestry, at that time, it wasn't just about coming from one company. You know, it could be any company. If you Salone Resort, come on through. That's what we was pushing for. So everybody who has that same connection could benefit. It wouldn't just be one company dominating the game, or just one body of clients with certificates monopolizing the citizenship in Sierra Leone. But that's what it has been so far. The government has only entered an MOU with African Ancestry, and only its customers have been able to receive citizenship. People have DNA from other ways that say Sierra Leonean, but the government won't recognize it because they don't have no MOU with them, and none of their people's clients came here seeking it. And so it's like that. There's a lot of rubbish in the game. People who have gotten here first feel like they should lock the door. They should make it where only people who got there through their way is it. And I get a lot of heat for it, because I ain't take no DNA test. My family did, and I know who my family is. And that's all it takes. Right. And that's what, even they'll tell you that. If I wanted citizenship, that's what I came here for. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, you know, people confuse the things. But at the end of the day, that's how the process got started. The brother came. We wasn't able to meet the chair lady again, but we did meet several other people. And right now they're playing critical roles in the citizenship thing. But one of them was an intern, just got there from college. Another brother was just there too. Now they're like the bosses. They running it now. So they didn't know anything about this thing either until we went there and had a conversation with them in her absence. And we were told that we should start a petition. We should get as many Gullah Geechees or African Ancestry people or whatever to go ahead and you know, appeal, ask for it. We was told that the chairperson at that time of the Monuments and Relics, she said she would take it to the president. And y'all get your petitions and we will take it to the president. Took photos of everybody together, this and this and that. And in the long run, although Gullah Geechees were requesting as well, only African Ancestry people have been conferred citizenship. Okay. And by that way. So they have certain policies where they say, like, you got to have a certificate. You got to show your X or Y. But it's like only African Ancestry test those, you know, will meet that requirement. So it doesn't say don't bring your test. It just says that your test company doesn't provide everything you need. Okay. Go to African Ancestry. So it's a slick way of making you go to African Ancestry, because now they register a tourism company here, and now they're running $5,000 tours for citizenship. So you got to understand what I'm saying to you is that there would be no citizenship conferment if me and my wife were never willing to embrace people coming back to get their citizenship and did not make that first trip to that place, even though we weren't African Ancestry as Gullah Geechees in support of African Ancestry. And now we don't have the right to citizenship, but we've been getting African Ancestry people's citizenship for years now. Yeah. And so now you have people with African Ancestry even challenging, I say African Ancestry, not the company, the people who come back. They've broken down in the factions. Some don't like me. They feel like I didn't take a test, so I'm not 100% Sierra Leonean descendant. All kinds of bullshit. I'm just trying to tell you. And I see opportunism on both sides, and I see exploitation on both sides. And I think that both sides have a mutual agreement that that's how it's going to go down. And it's like an unsaid thing. You know what I mean? It's like if there's a rapist in the community and I see him and you see him and we the only two people that see him, we don't gotta talk about what we're supposed to do. Right. Once I see you and you see me, I'm like, yo, let's get this dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same way. And so you can understand that genetic DNA testing company now has a licensed tourism company that charges the highest cost for tours back to Sierra Leone just like they charge the most for genetic testing, all in the name of Africa for Africans, knowing that people want to find their way home. And so I'm here on this side, untested. I've never tested. I am a Pan-Africanist, Gullah Geechee. My family has tested. We are Sierra Leonean descendants. Even though there's over 150 people who just got their citizenship in Sierra Leone in the last 3 years, I don't qualify. So this is the contradictions that people don't understand. And sometimes you can see me on social media going off.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Because you have individuals inside the government here that's down. And you got individuals behind that company there that's down. And one got government power and another one got a company, a powerful company backing it and clearing the way.
Yeah.
And now it's like, who's going to be the one to go to? Everybody, Dinah Samira has a tour company now. You know, he knew he was Mende since 2013, didn't get here to 2020? We met him here too. So you got to understand what I'm saying here. I've been sacrificing my life and doing work in Sierra Leone since 2007, indirectly for 6 years while organizing in America before I got here.
Yeah. So
and you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So
I do understand.
We got separated from it. We got separated from the whole thing, but we were forced to get a tourism company because they start changing rules real quick as soon as people start coming back. They say, okay, now it's illegal to tour a person without a license. If we catch you, we're getting charged. Before, you could just come to me and I tour you around, no problem. So they start making these rules because you got these different groups that's contending against each other, and they're both putting pressure on the government to create policies for them, and the government's creating the best policies for themselves. So it's almost like we want to be divided and conquered. And that's what, you know what I mean?
So it sounds like the same thing that has happened in Ghana for the last 40, 50 years is happening in Sierra Leone.
It's beginning. When I got here, there was nobody else.
It's starting to happen
in Sierra Leone. When I got here in 2013, I couldn't find no one like us on our wavelength here.
But it's happening fast, though. It's happening really fast. Like
it's 150 people in the last 3 years. I've been here 9. We went to the government 7 years ago.
Y'all done did about y'all done got as many as, because that's about the same number that has citizenship from the government in Ghana. Like
and they started at the same time.
That's pretty impressive.
Let me ask you this though. Everybody who exists got an occupation in the background.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are coming and we see them in their African clothes. We see them with green books. We don't know who these people are. Even us, me, I'm in Sierra Leone. Don't ever think that because you see me with someone here that it's a go. I don't know them most of the time. I just be showing love. Now, that's very important as well because there are vultures out there. There's people who's literally coming behind us to undermine us, to take whatever it is that we've gained so far.
Right.
Black Americans.
Right. Right.
Black Brits.
Right.
Black Caribbean. That's coming back to meet people from their countries out there and taking us as rivals and using the little bit of money they got from the outside and manipulating these vulnerable, desperate people here to play a kind of tribal war. And it's not going to work, but it's happening. It wasn't happening. It just started happening with these citizenships.
Yeah, you know,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's something to watch.
And I'm seeing something that I've been just sitting back. I don't talk about it much on this will be the first time I've even mentioned it on my channel. but we had some issues that were going on in Senegal and in Gambia, amongst diaspora from the UK, the US, the people in the country. Like it was just unraveling into this ugliness. And in Ghana also, it's just but something happened as I was watching these things unfold and trying to figure out like what could I do and how could I help and how do we figure this out? And while I'm in my mind trying to figure it out or figure out who do we, you and some other brothers and sisters were actually coming together to actually do the thing that I was trying to figure out. How do we do it? You all figured out how to do it. So we have repats in Senegal, the Gambia, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and I feel like I'm missing somewhere, but
we have
Kenya, and you all came together and created an alliance to help and mitigate some of the issues and mediate some of the issues that we were seeing, because everybody has this medium of getting to so many people at once with YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. We're able to make the world really small, and the repatriation community is even smaller because of this social media monster. But you all were able to take one of those situations and come together on that. How did you all in so many different countries come together and say, okay, we need to create this alliance to help mitigate these kinds of issues? How did that happen? And let's talk about that, because I do want to talk about the positive thing, because there's so much negative stuff coming out of the diaspora. We could talk all day long on that. Let's talk about these positive things that are coming from the negative things that tend to creep up on us.
Absolutely. That's a good way to segue into the solutions. So RJ Mardi, King Mardi, my homie, man, good brother, very, very good brother. I haven't met him yet physically, but I've known him spiritually and mentally for a long time.
Yes.
He's a good brother. Not perfect, ain't nobody perfect, but
right.
He's good. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I had been admiring his work for years. Being here and you know, just seeing other people that's involved and how they doing things differently, and sometimes even better than me. I'm looking always to hook up with people like that. I'm always like, yo, what's up? Like, yo, I get busy too, homie. Like, what's up? So, you know, I guess we're around the same age group. You know, he's here with his family. Got a wife over there, kids. Got my wife over here. You know, we Black men from America. We're here with Black American women. You know, we are doing business. We're serving communities, and we're still trying to provide media content and things like that to those who ain't here yet. Right. You know what I mean? So I just respected what he was doing, because we was down here doing the same thing. And but he has had a whole nother level. Dude is a genius. He understands business. He understands business in a different way. And you got people out there that may look one way, look normal, but that brain in their head, it ain't normal, yo. and that's how RJ is. So so for a while I have been, you know, giving him his props, you know, just sneak trolling, liking his little posts, you know, throwing a little fist up on the comments, let him know, yo, man, I see you, homie. And he was organizing Africa Day. If you remember, he was organizing Africa Day. He was supposed to bring people from all around the world, Senegal, and he hit me up. He was like, yo, bro, I know you right there in Sierra Leone. You can organize a group, bring a caravan for Freetown. I was like, shit. If it's possible, you got somewhere to lodge us. He was like, man, no problem. So after the conversation, I was like, yo, this is how we really need to be moving. Like, shouldn't be sitting just in one country shit. You know, Sierra Leone is the size of South Carolina. When you move to America, you don't say, let me move to one state. You move to the whole America. So it take you about the same amount of time to get to Conakry as it would take you to get from New York to Philadelphia. So what's the problem? Why we can't enjoy both countries? And so we wanted to do it, and the best way to do it would be by road. And everybody knows COVID broke out shortly after that happened. So he ended up inviting me and others, Sister Ya, my wife, others, to come on board a alliance, because he was like, yo, man, the economy is about to crash. Our people about to go crazy. Man, they need somewhere to stay. Man, people over there talking about this, man. We need to stack up rooms and beds. Man, we need to get them on point. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, cuz, you're right. Everything you're saying is absolutely right. I be saying it to myself. Me and my wife always sit around, talk about it, debate, see how we can try to get people on the right path. But what you're saying is correct. Yeah, so now I'm like, all right, cool, no doubt, it makes sense. It ain't been no unity out here in the repatriation movement. That's been our weakness. And if that's what you're putting on the table, man, I'm down. So there were 6 organizations that entered an alliance. 2 of the organizations are his organizations, Made in Africa Project, as well as the Al-Kibulan Development Group, 2 dynamic programs. Then we have the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Project, or program. Yeah, Sister Ya. Then we have 2, I would say, nationalist governmental type organizations, the State of African Diaspora, SOAD, and we have the UNIACL. And so when you put those 5 together, and then you put a little bit of Basani on top, you have the Exodus Alliance. Now, organizationally, we made up the alliance. We were the organizations and the heads that came together and agreed with RJ to make this alliance possible. So although RJ is the mastermind, and he's the brother who pitched the ideal, just like me with the organizations that I have, without others.
Right.
You understand? And we happen to be the others that answered the call and was like, let's go. We seen the issue. So of course we formed because we believe that there's 3 different areas of development that we should be focusing on as we repatriate, as individuals, families, or even as a collective. Finance, we need to learn how to make good money. When I say good money, I don't mean a lot of money, I mean good money. Money the honest way, not blood money.
Right.
You know, good money. It don't gotta be a whole lot if we collectivize, but it gotta be good. Right. You know what I mean? So we realize that our finances gotta be well organized, well structured, and if nobody else don't, we have to have it like that for ourselves. Right. You know what I'm saying? And if we started, other people like it, hell, you know, Africa, man, they roll fast to mind. Once they see something that works, they pick it up and do it. You know? But we shouldn't make it about them picking it up and doing it until we do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about prioritizing and doing things first. We also, for consultancy, people think that we're consulting them because we're hustling them. We want to make money. But we're consulting you to assist you, because that little bit of money you pay for the amount of advice you can get from one of us is priceless for you. You understand? And not for everybody. Like I said, I winged it. I came out here with some homies I thought I had and started off at the bottom, got sick all crazy, you know, and everything.
But if we can keep each other from going through that, why not? Because I went through it.
Listen, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it.
I don't recommend it either.
It's just, I don't recommend it. I mean, look, if you're just still trying to prove that you can do it, be my guest. But if you're intelligent and you understand that if I'm with someone in that country that I'm going to pay 50% less for everything, right? That, you know what I'm saying? Right. That if I have a crisis, I'm in better hands. That if I ain't got no money, that these people start messing with my bank accounts and my phone because I didn't prepare, I didn't understand how to travel internationally. They already got me. You know what I mean? So people don't understand what we're really trying to do to help them. But the reason why we're not worrying about people is because we're seeing beyond them. It's more about the families and the futures. And so those things, it was media, finance, and organization. So those three areas are the areas we want to focus on, and we created a radio show so we could start bringing people together. Well, it's actually a YouTube channel, but we call it radio to make it different.
Yeah.
You know, one day we'll be able to just take the audios and put them up, and it'll be radio. You know.
Yeah.
But for now, we did that. We began meeting regularly. We developed a strategy. We defined repatriation as a mass movement. Mm-hmm. Even if you are executing it individually for yourself, none of us are in isolation. We thought we were. RJ thought it was him, his wife, and his kids. He was in isolation. I thought it was me and then my wife, and we was in isolation. Mm-hmm. That's not the reality. We just arrived at different points at different times, maybe alone or in small groups. But now we're realizing that none of that means anything if we don't have an alliance. Now, alliance means that we're not all one big organization, that we have several organizations that sit down at the table as equals and provide whatever it is that they have to the table. So SOAD provides Lumi options for the community. So if we're having an Exodus radio show, I'm able to teach you about Lumi. You're able to get some crypto that's based in Jamaican capital, the people's money, the maroon paper. So you might not know about it, but from us, you're going to hear about it and get access because SOAD is our partners. And so this is the thing, is that we understand that we have to build networks ourselves. And so the Exodus Alliance is for that. Senegal is not giving citizenship. So you can't go to RJ the same way you can go to me here if that's what you want. But if you go to RJ and you need that here, RJ will say, go to Chief. And if you need something, I'll say, hey man, go to RJ. There was an elder going to Ghana a few months ago, and she didn't have a visa. I called Sister Yah. Sister Yah knew exactly who I should call. And so this is the thing. If you see people building that, you know, why not just fall in line and get where you're going? But you always have people that, you know, disagree and just want to be stubborn with themselves. I'm one of them, you know, and I regret being like that now because I know better. You know what I mean? So
know better, you know better.
Exactly. So that was what the Exodus Alliance was about. To fast forward to the question you had about what happened last year. You know, sis, when you out here, you see people coming that's not necessarily the type of people that you would affiliate yourself with. And then everything they're doing to misbehave, you're being affiliated with. You would say, yo, man, hold up, man. Like, y'all, look, man, this ain't that. This kid, this ain't art. This ain't that, you know? Yeah. So, but people, and there's so many people that want to see us fail, particularly African Americans, that want to see us fail. They don't want to see us, you know, in the front or at the top. They want to see us behind at the bottom. And that's the only place people feel us being comfortable at because we're intimidating.
We are. And
so unless we're always being soft and making sure people feel that we're friendly and, you know, we're good niggas. You know what I'm saying? They don't really want to deal with the honest, with the real people, you know, with the reality.
Yeah.
You know, so Exodus Alliance was monitoring the situation in Gambia, just like everybody else. But we had the ability to monitor it and bring back what we all seen individually back to a collective because we already had an alliance. The alliance wasn't formed for that. The alliance was already there. And we were already doing our radio show and everything when it was happening. But because we've seen the impact, now we formed the alliance because our people was coming home. We knew each other before that, but we was like, yo. So the alliance happened because COVID, and we was like, yo, there's more people reaching out saying they're trying to get here now. Yeah. And we was like, yo, there's no need for us to do this as individuals. Let's get together and make sure where our people go, they got assistance. That's what birthed the Exodus Alliance. Everything else is just us doing our job now. Yeah. And so we was watching, and for a while, I know that us individually, I know RJ had sent word out to some of the individuals involved down there when it was getting pretty heated. Like, yo, man, what y'all doing? You know, you're making us all look bad. Like, what's going on? You know? And Sister Ya was just like, man, you know, ain't nobody worry about them people, man. You know, that's them. We over here.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, there's a limit.
Yeah.
There's a limit. And what happened was that one of the sisters that was involved reported online that she was threatened physically. That the brother said he was going to do something to her in Gambia, and it was online. Maybe a lot of people didn't see it, but we seen it because we was monitoring the situation, and that caused us to have a meeting. And in that meeting, I was like, man, we all was like, man, you know, forget about playing nice and all that shit. We know what needs to be done. These are people. We from the same country. If they do good, it look good on us. If they do bad, it look bad on us, and vice versa. That's why we try and keep it clean for everybody.
Yeah.
And you know, we're running legitimate businesses and providing real services. And their squabble is adding fuel to the con, scam, fraud label.
Yes.
Which we are not that.
Absolutely.
And so
that's what had me messed up. Like,
yeah, and so we was like, you know what? Let's sit down and see what we got to do. So we decided that we would invite all of the parties that were fighting to a private conversation with all of them there. So we pulled them all together from the rip. And we told them we're pulling you together because no one is going to touch anybody. Right. Especially not, man ain't going to touch no sister. You're not going to say, yo, I'm going to do this to her. She said on Facebook and we just going to keep observing.
Right.
You took it too far now. So we wanted to analyze, yo, they say y'all frauded. What's going on? People looking for their money. What's going on? Like, we really did the critique. And it was at one point where I'm kind of regretful of it now. But at the beginning, I thought that the allegations were true. And the accused were saying, man, when you invest in a company and you lose money, you lost money.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? He's like, this is a business. What do you mean they want a refund? This isn't that. I'm not, you know what I mean? So the brother was trying to explain, like, you know, in business, this is business, y'all. If the business is successful,
everybody's happy.
If it fails, we all lose.
We all lose. Right.
And so their business was set to make like $200,000. And someone who was a business partner who owned 5% of the business and was brought to Africa by the accused with his money, got there, seen, and called and started yelling fraud, yelling scam. There was no scam, but because they yelled, people poured out and it turned into a scam. And you understand that? Because dude, like, what? Like, yo, I got $200,000 on the way. You gonna come make videos telling people I'm a what? I brought you here. You own 5% of the company. You burning your own company down. So he was trying to take it, because he's a businessman. You know what I'm talking about, Kwesi.
Yeah.
He's doing that like business. And it just got ugly, yo. You know, it's embarrassing. Them people know better than to behave like that. And so that's what my position was, since you're asking. It was at one point where the brother was like, man, I'm not giving nobody their money, you know, and y'all can ask him, you know. I was like, man, give people their fucking money, man. You know, just give them their fucking money so we can move forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't robbing them.
It's a business. It was a business investment.
You understand, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, he was being accused of threatening somebody and then saying, I ain't giving nobody no money. So me, I'm still trying to be mature, you know, upright, beads around my neck, you know, I'm trying to be that dude. But, you know, it was hostile at first, man. People really was upset. And we had several meetings after that. And we even organized an independent audit. And we audited. Kwesi, he was absolutely transparent. He gave access to everything with rationale. And he gave it so well that he was able to tell us how the others were going to respond once they knew that they was lying, that they all being lied to. And it happened the same way that he said it was going to happen. But what happened was that they said this brother didn't have a legal company. So he was collecting money from a bank account connected to a company that wasn't no longer legally registered. That's illegal in the United States. You understand?
Right.
But it was a lie. He shut down the business in one state and moved it to another state. And because he shut it down in one state and people still was paying money to that company, they said, this is illegal. Come to find out, he got a whole company in another state. He moved it from Georgia to Florida. He's legal, 100% legal. And so when you understand what their business plan was, yes, there's money here, but this is what we have to do with it. You realize that they got called frauds before they even got an opportunity to deliver. And then people started coming in the middle of that, and the accuser started to assist the people coming.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was like, okay, you burnt my business down and set up shop across the street. And the people outside never seen the true motive behind any of this. They just seen niggas acting like niggas in Gambia.
That's what it looked like.
So we want to know what is this for real? What is this? And we call heat for it because you got people that's really like against us for some reason, just for being Black Americans and just for being in Africa. And so you got people, whether they're jealous or they're suspicious of us, they feel like they have to be police officers online. And so they just like adding more fuel and fanning the flames.
It was a lot of fan flaming.
You know, so even we got caught up in that just because we were stepping up to do the right thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, sister, what happened is that our audit revealed that Kwesi was innocent. Legally and as a business, he was not a fraud. He may have made some mistakes. He may have not been forthcoming with how things was going to run, and people didn't read the little print and all that stuff right there. He's not innocent. Everybody involved had a role to play. Right. But that man is not a fraud. That man is not a scam. That particular thing right there was not what it looked like. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's the reason why we intervened, because how would we ever know? There's things that happen in Ghana that still the world is unresolved. So we was like, man, F that, man. Not this time. Not this time. Not Gambia. You know. And so we hope that we're able to continue to play that role as we grow. We want other people to join the Exodus Alliance and support us, because we need some sense of self-governance on the continent among ourselves. That
was the thing for me that I was so happy to see, because we do need some sense of self-governance. At the end of the day, West Africa is a small place. Mm-hmm. And all of those little, Ghana is like the size of Georgia, Sierra Leone like the size of South Carolina. Like, these places are small. And the way, like, I remember getting a phone call and from Ghana, where the person who called me from Ghana was like, yo, I just got a call from Sierra Leone about what's going on in the Gambia. And the people in Sierra Leone saying, is that what y'all trying to do? When y'all come to Sierra Leone, y'all gonna be acting like this? the way y'all acting in the Gambia, this is what y'all trying to do with citizenship.
They brought it up.
And I'm like, oh my God, like what our people don't understand. So when I got the phone call, it was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. How do you respond to somebody in Sierra Leone talking about what's going on in the Gambia? And
yeah, you know what it tells us? You know what it tells us? Sometimes you stumble across what you've been looking for, but the first time you encounter it, you don't get it right. Let me tell you something, right? The concept of redemption is even for this movement. Yeah. If at first you don't succeed, what are you supposed to do according to Aaliyah? All right. Now that try again is one thing, but when you succeed, that's redemption. You redeem yourself. You're no longer a loser. Now you're a winner. And so everything that has happened in this repatriation movement in the last 230 years, particularly since independence, has to be reanalyzed. We have to recheck that shit. And yes. Even the motivation for people coming back right now is a lot different than what it's ever been. People, a lot of the mentality of the people coming back, the resources we have, the information we have, it's a lot different. In America, we're a lot more independent than what our parents were at our ages. And so obviously people who would have traveled in groups before don't have to anymore. Right. So unity is a choice. It's not by force. Right. You know, we grow up in environments where, you know, just because I live in my neighborhood, I got to be united with everybody else in my neighborhood. Because I ain't going to be able to live here and I ain't going to have no protection outside of here unless I rock up my neighborhood. Right. That mentality carries over and plays out like tribalism when, you know, when we're trying to do this international work. You know what I'm saying? So it's all a struggle, man. It's all a struggle, but the reality is that we're coming up with the solutions out of the struggle. I believe so. There was no Exodus Alliance 50 years ago, but our generation will have one. And our children will inherit one. And then later on, when Exodus Alliance isn't enough, our children will know what to do.
They'll develop something else.
Because that's what we did. Yeah. You know, that's what we're supposed to do. If you got people still walking around with the same mentality of a 1966 Watt riots, a rebel, burning down the streets, in 2022, we got some backwards ass thinking and behaving people. Yes. They need to be in the rear. They don't need to be in the lead. They're backwards. Yeah. And so we need real practical solutions to real problems. Absolutely. And most people who are taking philosophical, cultural, and political positions to be the influencers, the ones who want to be heard and seen, they have very little work in the community that substantiates what they're saying. It's almost like if I walk up to you and I want to give you advice on losing weight, but I haven't lost 10 pounds in 10 years. Right. You know, it doesn't add up. Where's your credentials? And so people just have to be more discreet about who they accept information from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We have to be more intelligent. You know, when I read Marcus Garvey and I read Malcolm X and I read Huey P. Newton, there's a constant thing. We have to be intelligent. Absolutely. It's no getting around it. It's no getting around it. We have to be smart. Like you know how like when you in school, they be like, that's the smart kid. That's how we gotta be. We gotta be that smart kid that we was too ashamed or too shy to be growing up in urban communities where being smart was dumb. No, now we gotta apply all that to Africa. This is the real institution. So if we had a problem learning under white supremacy, what the hell is your problem in Africa? This is the classroom. We taught the whole damn world everything. Yeah. So with that being said, considering we are, you know, we're a little scattered around West Africa right now.
I love I love the fact that there is now an Exodus Alliance. I do, with me being, with Ghana being my African home, I struggle a lot with all of the stuff that we deal with in Ghana. I feel like it's a lot. And yeah. I've tried really hard to be involved. But when I look at it, I see that what's happening is, like you mentioned earlier about the chiefdoms. We don't have our chieftaincy in Ghana the way we need. We need our chieftaincy in Sierra Leone. We need our chieftaincy in the Gambia and in Senegal and wherever we are. We need our structure, and then we need our paramount chieftain. We need some structure. And in Ghana, what I see is a whole lot of everybody want to be the chief. And I feel like we can have our villages inside of the chiefdom in Ghana, but it got to come together. It got to come together at a point, and we're not doing that there. And like you mentioned, there's people in Ghana who have been there for 30, 40, 50 years, and they don't have citizenship. Like, so at some point we have to see that what we were doing in Kwame Nkrumah time and J.J. Rollins time and whomever, Otta Mills time, and we got to switch gears somehow. We have to be able to adapt to the changes that are happening. And us as this generation where now I'm 41, you're 42, we are that age group that has to make institute these changes that we see. It's 2022. We cannot do what y'all did in 92. That's just not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
I appreciate so much what you guys are doing, because I'm not gonna lie. When I got to Ghana and I saw how disorganized our people was, I wasn't ready for that. It was really hard to swallow, and I gracefully backed the hell away, because at the end of the day, the energy that I have to put into things, I'm not willing to give it to dead stuff. So that's why I want to use this. This is my way of helping. If I can sit right here and say, okay, tell me what we doing. Tell me what y'all need me to do. How can I help? What I need, what you need me to do, what you need me to say, where I need to put it. Mm-hmm. If I can do that, I'll do that. I'll do my service how I can do my service. But what I can't do, I'm not good. I don't like all of that talk. I need let's talk about it. Then let's do something about it. Because and we don't have to meet for 2 years to do this action. Let's talk about it. Let's get a plan together, and we can figure out the rest of it in between. It's Africa, and ain't no plan in Africa gonna go the way you thought it was gonna go.
It's not.
Period.
It's not. You have to be a better organizer in Africa.
Much better.
You have to anticipate what you can't anticipate.
What you can't anticipate.
And so you have to develop a spidey sense. You know, you develop your sixth sense here. You know, sometimes it makes sense to go, but your spirit don't say go, and you shouldn't go. And Africa, the spirit is more. It communicates with you more. What's inside of you.
Much more.
You know, and so yeah, you're right. I mean,
I'm just
this
really
mentality,
proud of y'all.
we can't change everybody.
No,
we can't change everything. But what we can do is we can develop a model, a system of coexistence that can be built on indefinitely by future generations. Whatever is not there, let us put it there and leave whatever behind for our babies to add on.
To add on.
You know what I mean? So we're not trying to save the world. We're not trying to wake everybody up. Listen, Harriet Tubman didn't wake nobody up when she got away. She wasn't waking you up unless you was going with her. And if you tried to go back,
she'll shoot your ass.
so she wasn't trying to wake everybody up before she got the fuck free. You know what I mean? And but we call their names, but we don't behave like them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the contradiction. You can say, yeah, I think like Malcolm, I agree with what Malcolm said, but you don't behave like Malcolm, man.
Yeah.
With integrity.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. I think that for us to be on the continent with this kind of movement and consciousness right now, we have to be aware that we're pioneering a new generation. And it's not just petty differences and personalities, and I don't like her, I would never hang with that nigga in America. It ain't really about that.
No, it's not. It's big, way bigger than that.
But for some people it is. And those people will always be there. Our people here in Africa need to be able to distinguish between the two. And so there's the unorganized and there has to be the organized. So this is why we're organizing ourselves. So that if you're in Ghana and there's 1,000 people there and 900 of them want to be disorganized, there's 100 that the whole world can recognize as being very well organized, serious, transparent, and trustworthy. That's all we need. We could do that. Right. We could do that. We could do that in every capital city in Africa over time. You know, put a team of 50 people in the capital. Our job is to work with the indigenous on the development issues and see how best we can exchange. We're there for that. You understand? Not just for fresh fish and fruits with seeds in it.
Right.
No, you can get that shit anywhere.
Yeah.
What you can't do is you can't play a hands-on active role in the liberation of Africa without being involved. Absolutely. And when you're in Africa, you realize that no matter where you at in the diaspora, man, you're not going to be free. Your struggle ain't going to move an inch until we liberate Africa. When you realize that, you realize where you need to be, regardless of where you want to be. Ooh. You know what I'm saying?
Who you tell?
Some of us want to go where we needed at. You know what I'm saying? And I feel you on that. Like when you say you came here, got discouraged and shit. It happens. That's what we're trying to prevent. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say and act like it was all roses and stuff for me either, man. It's been financially hard. It's been emotionally hard. My mother died while I was here. And I had to determine if I was going to drop the Ebola Dead Bing Bing campaign, saving lives, and try to hustle up all this money now and get to America in time before they put my mother in the ground. And I wasn't able. Yeah. I was here saving lives when my mama was being buried. And so I missed out on a lot. I haven't held my grandson yet. I will soon. I haven't held him yet. He don't know his granddad is that dude. He gonna learn one day, you know? So this is the thing, is that we're going to miss out by being here. But what you gain, everyone over there is missing out on. So it goes together. We just got to figure out what to do for each other. What can I do for you? What can you do for me? I told one brother here the other day, I said, tell me your closest 10 family members that you will call on if you needed a little bit of help. You know you can rely on them. I said, okay, now tell me 10 people who are your friends. Because that's two different levels of social reality. Your family and then your friends. They're not the same. Never confuse the two.
Right.
Someone can start off as a friend and become family.
But you're
never going to be both. Yeah, you ain't going to be like a brother.
No.
You're my friend, but you like my brother.
Your friend or you family.
Yeah, one or the other. You know, you my friend, you can become my brother, depending on how we carry this out. You know what I'm saying? And so understanding that you have rings of individuals in your private, personal, individual network that you can reach out to, because you identify them, every single one, you know what kind of relationship you want with them, and you start building those relationships with each individual. No, none of them have to know each other. None of them have to work together. But when you understand networking, you understand, one of the things I did coming up trying to make some money over there was I was doing network marketing. I was working for prepaid legal. And I was going around the hood like, yo, you know, you don't want to get caught without the ratchet, without the gun. So why you want to get caught without the prepaid legal? It don't make sense. And people was like, word, oh, I paid my $30 and this. But anyway, it was like a lawyer insurance.
Yeah.
Something can happen, you can just call. And so many people in the state is got the program that they're able to pay for the top lawyers in the state.
Right.
The top firms for everybody who's a customer. So it was genius.
Yeah.
And I studied it. I got involved. I went through all their little intense training, became successful at it a little bit, put my little sister on, put my homies on. And I walked away from it. I got so overwhelmed into the organizing that I was doing that it started clashing with the network marketing. But I did learn it. And everything I learned, I applied today. So imagine if we understood that we could be using the tactics and strategies, the methods of network marketing to spread our word and gain the resources that we need at the same time to continue our work. That is self-sustainability. That's the only way you can ever operate autonomously. And if we're, some people think we're doing all this to get rich, but if we ain't free, we ain't rich.
You can't, people don't understand what rich really look like. I tell you one thing, is I've made money here. I've been being in Africa, whether I was in Ghana or in Guinea, the freedom that I felt it's always way more valuable than anything that I can buy. And you know, people always ask me why I want to be. It's freedom. My freedom is so much more valuable than anything that I can buy. Yes, I want to be comfortable wherever I am. It's certain things. I'm a creature of certain habits that I feel like I deserve, and I work hard for the ability to be comfortable. But I tell my husband this all the time. I live in a little hut in West Africa. If it wasn't for me having all these little babies, I would just move there and not worry about anything. But at the same time, I feel like I have a duty to my people too, which is why I do this. So I can at least know that I'm contributing something of value. I don't do all of that gossip bullshit that people be doing. I don't have time for that. If it's not of something of value, something of structure, something that's gonna help us, maybe it might be one person that watch this and say, okay, now if I want to go to Sierra Leone, I can contact Chief Foday and his wife Kenya, and they'll help me figure it out. If it's only one person, I'm fine with that, because I think that one person may lead to 10 other people. That may lead to, that's the network marketing of it. Like it can bloom. You don't never. It's so many people who I get messages, and some of my videos, there only be a couple of 100 views or whatever. I don't care. I didn't make it. I made it for the one view where I get a message and somebody say, thank you for that. Your video made me make my decision that I'm going to Africa. I booked my ticket and I'm moving, or I'm going to start figuring out how I can make this move. Thank you for that. Because at the end of the day,
that's
one
the
at
work.
a time.
That's the work.
One at a time. We just like taking steps, is one at a time. And as we move one at a time, these individuals, we have to seek each other out, because at the end of the day, when we move, some of us like you and myself, we can move and we make all of these mistakes for everybody else. And then it's like, okay, now I don't want nobody to have to go through that if they don't have to. So let me help you. If you want to, now if you just want to thug it out, but you don't have to. And thanks to people like you and RJ and Sister Ya, there's a lot of people getting the help that they need to make this transition. Repatriation is becoming a reality for way more people than I thought it would be in this generation. And my very first video, I talked about how repatriation has been a thing of us since we left from the coast. We've been trying to get back, and we've been leaving in groups of sometimes a couple thousand, sometimes a couple hundred, sometimes it's just one. But we've been doing it, and we're going to continue to do it, because every day somebody feels the call to return. And thanks to people like you and like me and RJ, they got somebody they can reach out to. And if I'm always telling people, call Sister Ya. Like, Sister Ya can help you with this residency stuff, and she has same code for repatriation. Like, let's help each other.
Yeah.
So I love what y'all are doing.
Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you, right? I love what you do as well. It's very important. These platforms seem like they're just talk fest, but they're not. Like you said, they're conversations, and we've never had the ability to share information like this. Imagine the Black liberation struggle in the '60s with this. Imagine Assata Shakur with this. Imagine Malcolm X with this. Imagine this. Imagine Madam C.J. Walker. You know what I mean? So we on one hand, we know our greatness and what our potential is through our ancestry, but at the same time, it's a fight to realize it.
It is.
It doesn't have to be. You know, the things that we fight over in America, we don't have to fight over here. The competing that we do over there, it's abundance over here. We don't have to do that over here.
Yeah.
What there's a scarcity of in America, there's an overabundance of here.
Yeah.
And I can see myself, slowly but surely, going home, going back and coming and things like that. But I'm telling you, man, for now, my job is to be here and to keep learning and to keep serving, and just hope that it can last forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do what we can do. Yeah. And I appreciate you too. There's a lot of snakes out there, people who just carry information, gossip kings and queens. But I mean, we can't tell them what to use the social media for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They got that freedom too.
Exactly.
But that just means that we have to put our innovation caps on. I don't mind a little bit of friendly competition, so to speak. As long as you ain't spitting and slapping and all that, that's cool. We can get it in, So even a little bit of friendly competition ain't bad. I don't mind giving people awards when they do something worthy of award. I don't mind giving someone some criticism when they need to sit down and shut up for a minute and listen to some real words either.
Absolutely.
So I want that. If you see me tripping, hit me up like, yo, bro, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, it don't look good right now.
We gotta hold each other accountable.
We have to, and that's what the intervention was all about.
Yeah.
And it's a testament of character for an entire organization. None of us could have done it individually. I couldn't have did all that by myself. RJ couldn't have did all that shit by himself. We wouldn't have been able to take the action by ourselves.
Right.
But because we understand that repatriation is an organized mass movement.
Absolutely.
We knew that we need to have organization in place to resolve our own issues and push our own interests. That's not even about a bunch of technical terms. It's just about life. Wherever you are, you need that. And where you don't have it, you still need it. And so it's very beautiful, actually, when you think about it, sister, because we have the opportunity now to create what it will be in a way that the whole world will see it.
Yeah, we do.
You see?
We do.
So it's really up to us. And those of us who are the pioneers that are so emotionally invested, we really got to just get to know each other better.
Yeah.
Use each other for support, you know, call each other up, check on each other. We all parents, most of us 30 and above. You know, we got little brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews coming up. They out there challenging with all kind of shit, man. They facing shit that we ain't had to face in the 80s and 90s, man. This shit's different right now.
It's different right now.
Yeah.
I got a 20-year-old and it is different.
It's different. So imagine like we have a network where, you know, you're able to send your son, your daughter or whatever, over to Auntie Aaliyah in Senegal for 2 months. They're gonna go over there and learn Wolof and do some batiking and take some tailoring. Then they're gonna move to another place and do the same thing. Then another place and do the same thing within the network. So they got skills from 3 or 4 countries within the alliance. By the time they get back to America, who can compete with that? So this is the way we're supposed to be thinking.
I love that. Oh, brother, I love that.
The Lebanese are doing it.
Oh, yes. I see it.
The Chinese are doing it.
I see it. They're doing
all kind of these babies running around Freetown right now. Blackanese. You don't get foreign male workers to come to your country and they don't get no.
Absolutely.
That's why we're supposed to encourage them. Listen, there's brothers in America with no jobs, and there's a fully employed prison population.
Wow.
And so them brothers over there in prison, they ain't even making the money brothers is making in Africa. And then when they come home broke, we treat them like what? So it's a savage life. And just because we're in Africa doesn't mean we're not in the same world together. You don't go to another planet. You know, you're not. Don't romanticize Africa. We have many issues here, and many of the issues here are the same issues that we have in the diaspora stem from.
Yep.
So we're trying to find the source of certain problems and certain things, and not knowing like this should go back to the continent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to continue to work on it. I think our ancestors have set a really good foundation for us in repatriation and understanding, and being Garveyites is I think the most important part of our Pan-African identification, because Africa is for Africans, and it's ours. Like, I just told somebody the other day, because they was like, them Africans don't even like us. I said, hold up. I said, let's say that's the truth. I don't give a fuck about what nobody like, because this is my birthright. I don't care what how they feel, how nobody feel about it. It's mine for the taking. You can't take something you can't take something from me that belonged to me. Baby, I'm born African first.
Exactly.
So,
you know why? You know why? Because certain people are not you. They're not us. They haven't embraced and already identified with Africa. Something had to stimulate them to develop this little consciousness they got. And maybe it was the Black Panther movie, you know, maybe it was the murder of what's the sister name that just got killed? Breonna Taylor. Anything can spark you.
Yeah.
Anything can spark you. But after that, you need to have a way to express that.
Yes.
And I think that most of us make many mistakes in trying to find the best way to express this new vision that we have, what we see. Like, for instance, me, right? People always tell me that they can see what I'm saying. And I'm always like, you see it, right? You understand, right? It's because my thoughts are visual. Even as I'm talking to you, it's like I'm reading it from the inside of my brain. And maybe everybody ain't got that, or they don't operate like that. But I visualize my thoughts. They're not just a whisper in my head.
Me too.
I see them.
Too.
And when I say I see them, I mean, like, you see your name right here? Say it, but say it in your head. Did you say it? Okay, did you hear it?
I saw it.
How did you speak, listen, and see within your mind what is on the outside of you? There's an inner you. We're operating from the inside, not the outside. But when you let the outside dominate, your insides will be destroyed. And so this is the thing. So I'm able to, the way I see things, the way I speak is because the way I think is the way I see them. See them like the same way you just heard what you said. In that same sense, that sixth sense, that third eye, that same place. So it takes people some time to see what I'm saying a lot of the time, because after I say it, I see it, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
So I might see it 5 years before you see it, and I sound crazy at first. But 5 years later, you're gonna be like, "Yo, nigga, you know." And that's been my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing about reading books and things like that. And I believe that because of that, it helps me to learn language. It helps me to remember things, dates, details, and all of that helps with being organized. All of that helps with needing to work in human services. Man, you know how many times it'd be a crisis situation. Somebody done bust somebody's head, they bleeding, and I gotta be the calmest motherfucker on the scene.
Oh yeah.
You understand? I gotta be like the school principal. Yo, get the fuck over there. I gotta.
You gotta get it, keep things in order. Because somebody gotta be it. Somebody have to be the one. And you know what as I'm thinking about it, I'm realizing that there's certain characteristics that come with people who are willing to do it first. And you have to be able to see it. And I think, like for me, when my first trip to Ghana in 2011, it was September the 6th, 2011. And when I walked off of the plane, it was dark, but I could see it. And then, you know, Africa dark is a different kind of dark. And it was dark. And I could feel it, see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna move here.
Yeah.
I gotta move. Intense. And I'm like, I just started tears and I couldn't even see anything. It was just like, what is that? What is that thing? And I have been on this journey ever since. It's just been, I've been chipping away at it ever since. Like, every time I come back, I've been back. I can't even tell you how many times I've got on the plane and gone to Ghana and come back and gone back. I don't even know how many times I've made this trip at this point. But I do know that part of what I am called to do is to find out how can I help. So I'm asking you, I'm telling you, whatever it is that you need on my end, whatever I can do to help, you let me know. Because I will do what I can. I will go as far as I can, and I'll let you know, okay, I'm not able to do that, but I'll try to help you find who can do that. I'm good at putting pieces together. Like I'm really good at that. I'm good at this person. Somebody called me from Nigeria one time, and they was stuck in Nigeria. They had crossed the border the wrong way, and they needed to come back, and I had to help them. And I didn't know how to do it myself, but I knew who to call. And you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I called my brother from the UK. His uncle is a immigration officer in Togo, and he knew, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to make those connections. And these are the things that we learn from being on the ground. We learn how to maneuver in that African space, because at the end of the day, you got to know how to navigate.
You gotta move.
Those spaces. And we have to be able to. I don't know how to move in Sierra Leone, but I know somebody who do.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know how to move in Senegal, but I know somebody who do.
That's right.
And those things are so important. I'm glad that we are in connection. I'm glad to finally have gotten a chance to speak to you. I'm big on people vibe and their spirit. My mama hates when I say this, but I don't really like people. It's very people that I like, but you got this vibe that, and maybe it's because you from my part of the country. I was telling a friend of mine, it's like my people, we feel each other, we vibe with each other, and it just is what it is. And I'm gonna start digging a little deeper into my Geechee roots and see why them people was calling me Geechees, calling me and my family Geechees. And
it was jealous.
Yeah.
It was jealous. Forgive them. You got, hey, mama, look, you got to forgive them, right? Because let me tell you, right? Geechee, the woman, they can cook. They're the best cooks. They taught the rest of the Black Americans how to cook. That's why they just had this movie about all the food from Africa and had to go to the corridor to tell it. So, first of all, the women got the best cooks. They fertile. For men, they love fertile women. 3, they're faithful women, regardless of the religion.
Yes, we are.
They're faithful women. They emphasize faith.
Yes, we are.
They love God. Yes. Again, they are disciplinarians. They grow up disciplined, and their kids will get slapped all the way across the floor for just looking a certain way. I know, I've been there. I'm a Geechee boy, so I had a Geechee mama, you know? And she whipped that ass, you know? And tell you about it while she's doing it. You know, she'd be giving you the lecture at the same time.
Giving you the
lecture. I tell you the way, and then you gonna just turn around and do that the same way. You know, she breaking it down into syllables and backhands. Yes. So, you know, so it all makes us strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you examine the average Gullah Geechee family, I was just examining some things about my family from down south. And it's the same traits. I mean, family first, you know what I'm saying? And what I find in my family and others is that we some real good people, man. We just cool, you know what I'm saying? We'll work hard for it as long as it's honest, you know what I'm saying? Before we do some more crooked, crazy stuff just for a whole bunch of money.
Integrity
we got that fear. We got that fear of God. That, you know, people don't like to bring shame to their grandmama in our culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. Imagine if these little, look, imagine if these little kids right now felt like they was giving their family a bad name when they pulled the trigger, that they're giving their family a bad name when they hit the blunt, that they're giving, the family meant something, that it was not just them, but everybody that they love. Yeah. And so there was social control mechanisms interwoven inside of our social institution. Yeah. And our number one institution, what survived the transatlantic slave trade and everything up till now, is the family.
Family.
Even if we had to alter it, it was it that we were still trying to create. And that model of family came from here. And the European, they say, you're going to be families and this is how you're going to do it. This is going to be your wife and this is how you're going to do it. Not in those days. We did what we already knew the old folk did. And you know what I mean? So I just know that. I know that, you know, Geechee men are strong men, not perfect, but remarkably strong. Not the opposite of city slickers. Yeah. You know, I'm from up north, and even though I'm Geechee, when I go down south, they be like, yo, your cousin, real city slicker, man, real city boy. And so you understand that there's a difference between country and city. And the difference is not just location, it's culture.
It's cultural.
People get nurtured different in them streets than we do in those bushes. And that's the reality of it. So where the life is more harsh, so will be the personality. Yeah. And so when you take the people up north in them harsh environments, they got hardcore personalities. Mm-hmm. To find somebody with that down south is like, yo, why you doing that here though?
Yeah, what's all that for?
Why here? Like go work with that. Yeah. Go
take that up top. Go to Detroit, Chicago, somewhere with that. We don't do that down here. Yeah. You know, exactly. I tell people all the time, but they don't call it the dirty South for no reason. You can get your head down here.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you can get your back dirty. You hear me? Yeah. You know, we used to say, my mom used to be like, yeah, we in that bitch moving furniture.
Yeah, moving furniture.
Yeah, we in that motherfucker moving furniture, boy. We was mixing, you know.
Man, I'm telling you, there's no way on earth nobody can tell me that we ain't all, because we all say the same stuff. Like that's something that my people in my family say. They was moving furniture and that, like that's just something that we say. Like, so you know, I'm gonna be reaching out to you so you can tell me how I could figure this thing out, because I really do want to know. Because that whole thing with my granddaddy and Darian, that really keeps coming back up. I know with my great grandmother, she was Blackfoot, so that's a whole other thing that. But my granddaddy, I know for sure that it's gotta be something there. We can't seem to get no further than his parents. Wow. His parents on their plantation.
You know, there was Blackfoots, PDs, Beaver Creeks, Yamassees. Mm-hmm. There was people who had their own chiefdom sovereignty systems for themselves that were there already, that they have descendants still there, mm-hmm. but they no longer live as what they were then. They're no longer belonging to those ethnic groups, and they no longer have that sovereignty. Yeah. So, and all around the world you'll find it, but there's a lot of indigenous lineage in many of our bloodlines, particularly in the Gullah Geechee corridor. I've read a study about the genetic composition of Gullah Geechees compared to African Americans. There's some very interesting differences. Mm-hmm. but Gullah Geechees have the least amount of white blood and the most amount of Native American blood when compared to African Americans, but it's still small.
Right.
So we have the most African blood, the least European blood, the least European blood, and the most indigenous content at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's who Gullah Geechee people are. And it doesn't mean that now we have to say, well, that makes us Native Americans. No, it doesn't.
No.
It makes some of them part of us.
Exactly. It makes some of them African.
It makes some of them part of us.
My great grandmother, I actually knew her. Like, she was in my life until I was 16. And she was very much she was dark like you. But she always wore these too long, the signature Native American two plaits. Yeah, wore her signature plaits, and she was a little bitty lady, little bitty thing, but that thing was a powerful little thing. She was a powerful little thing, and but I really I've been able to search her back a ways. It's just my granddad. My granddad, I really want to know, like, I believe that's where the Gullah Geechee comes in my family. But
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised because you have two parents, and each of your parents had two parents.
Yeah.
Each of their parents had two parents.
Yeah, well,
you literally have dozens. If you have you literally have dozens of lineages inside your one body. And if you think that is just your mom and dad, that might be the reason why you feel lost. I will work with you on that for sure. And one of the things that I've been very proud to be able to do is this. No one taught me. I learned it myself, just like people learn how to do things on YouTube and just by trying it out. But I made sure that I consulted people who know how to do it and people who've gone farther than me before. And I took my steps, put my whole family pedigree tree back together, found very interesting facts. I got birth certificates, like I said, everything. If I want to go visit a grave, I know where to go. And, you know, I don't just know where my granddaddy at, I know where his brothers and sisters is at and what their kids' names is today. So it is important. These are projects. It could take years to get it all.
Yeah.
It's not sitting in any one place, but there is a method. And you'll be surprised. There's whole groups organized around genealogy. Just giving
I started years ago, and I started mapping it out and with my grandmother, and it was becoming really like overwhelming. And then with my grandfather, I just kept getting stopped at the plantation. I couldn't get no further than that particular plantation.
Do you know his name?
My on the plantation, what's it called? The plantation document.
The slaveholder.
Yeah, the slaveholder document. I can only it only had their the first name, and it wasn't even their first name, their real first name. It was like what they called them. So we knew that his name, my granddaddy's granddaddy, was Willie Pig. They called him Pig for whatever. And the wife, God, I can't remember her name, but they had their two names, and then the kids, you know, the children that they had or whatever. But I couldn't get past that. Like, where did they come
from? Because you went there. There's always stone walls, right? Once you have the plantation, then you have a whole other set of documentation. And even though one individual can get cut off from the family, doesn't mean that other people in the family didn't know of that individual. And usually, if they were enslaved, there's babies that we don't know about.
Right.
And we find them through these testings now. People find a whole lineage like, what? My great-great-grandmama had a brother? And they never knew.
Years ago, my aunt now found some family somewhere, and they made a connection, and it was happening, but I think people get so, it becomes so overwhelming that they just kind of let it go. But I definitely, I want to know. I want to know, because we are so close to the coast, and we have like I have an uncle down in Woodbine, Georgia, and I got some in Jessup and some other places all around that Darien and Savannah, and all that area.
That's what I'm trying to tell you all about that right there, man. That Ogeechee River is right there.
Right, the Ogeechee River.
And, you know, we called ourselves Gullahs in the South Carolina Sea Islands and Low Country. But in Georgia, we called ourselves Geechees.
Geechee.
Called ourselves saltwater Geechees and freshwater Geechees. So only today we realize that both communities represent a single ethnicity, and they just had different variants of the same Creole language and culture. So that's why it's now Gullah Geechee, because now there's no need to separate the two. And that's why I told you earlier, like some people will say that they're Gullah Geechee based on where they was born, where their granddaddies was born, or things like that. People have different definitions. But for us, we believe that if a Zulu was born anywhere in the world, they're a Zulu. And what makes them a Zulu is nature and nurture. And if a Zulu is born outside of the Zulu environment, then you can't expect the nurture outside of the household or the immediate community where they will reinforce that.
Right.
And so where people get cut off, where they're rootless, you get severed from your roots. How do you get back to that?
Right.
And so there are methods, sis. I'm gonna work with you. I'm interested too. I would love to be able to help you. There was one sister just was here. She spent a few weeks with us, got her citizenship, and she came with a DNA test. She's a Tammany, but she took another DNA test, and we ran her through GenMatch and did the research. She had no idea where her family was from, man. They was from right there in Florida, and on a plantation within the Gullah Geechee corridor. She happy as hell. She was rolling with Geechees and didn't know she was one.
Wow.
And so this is what what you'll see is that, like, what I would like to personally invite you into the group, because there's others who, when we first encountered, there were suspicions, but it was no confirmation.
Right.
And that's what we're going for. When I say verifiable Gullah Geechees descendants, we're looking for that verification. And so there is no one way to verify, but at least come with enough documentation and credibility,
right,
to say that you can place your ancestry here in this place at this time. And understand that every one of them states expanded east to west. They started at the coast and went westward. It's impossible to have African people in the coastal counties unrelated to African people in the neighboring counties farther off the coast. It is impossible. It is stupidity.
Yeah.
It is a false sense of entitlement and ego that make people believe that there's actually a border.
Yeah.
The federal government said this is a corridor. I say that is a colony. And it's an attempt. It's an attempt to colonize the whole concept of Gullah Geechee and what it should be for the future. Yeah. It's a concept that take people like me and you and confuse us so much that we don't identify.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what this is about. They have certain people that will discourage you. No, girl, you don't know, you was born over there. No, you ain't no Geechee. But really, they're grant hustlers. They feel as though if you're a Geechee, then less money gonna come to them for grants. See, that federal corridor was created in 2006. $10 million grant, $10 million awarded the first 10 years, $1 million a year. They just updated it a few months ago to now it's going to be $30 million for the next 15 years. And you got people down there saying whatever they got to say to get that money. And they fighting anybody who look like they might be a contender for that money. We don't want the money, but we get the heat anyway. So just imagine what an isolated individual just trying to find their way home would get if they had posed a threat, because they might create a group, because they might realize, hey, Gullah Geechee is here too, and your corridor didn't recognize that. Y'all got to bring that corridor over here now. And look at my granddaddy's graveyard. Don't it need preservation? And look at this. Don't just isolate one area and put 10 million there and then say, if you were born and don't live within that corridor, don't come here and expect any support with preservation, promotion, or protection of your cultural heritage, okay? You gotta live here and be for me. That's some bullshit. Imagine that happening in Africa. And so this is the thing. We're challenging those things as Gunona, as a body of Gullah Geechees. So we do wanna make sure that, one, those of us who say we're Gullah Geechees, that as an organization, we can stand behind you and say, we can verify that. So we do this research and stuff like that together to make sure that we on point.
Okay.
Ain't nobody no false flagging out here. And the whole thing about it is that there's honorable people. There's people who ain't a Gullah Geechee that ain't gonna front like they're a Gullah Geechee that still rock with us. Right. And that's what we want. So don't front like you a Geechee if you ain't just to rock with us. You ain't got to. You know what I'm saying? We ready to roll. And so it's like that, sis. It's really, really like that. And so I want you to be encouraged to continue to put the pieces of the puzzle together. People, places, culture, heritage, language. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My wife didn't know she was a Geechee descendant at all. She was born in Chicago, met me, I put her on. She thought she was cheering me on for my own identity. And come to find out, her grandmama took a DNA. Her grandmama took a DNA test. You know what I'm saying? It identified people in Riceboro, Georgia. She got in contact with them. It was like, man, we Geechee. She didn't even know. Wow. She was already supporting the struggle because I'm her husband. She was already in Africa because I'm her husband. From there, she discovered her Mende roots. So it's an amazing, amazing journey that we're on. And for people to reduce it into just some likes and shares is really a shame.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that it won't be televised, but it's at least available online. Yeah. For future generations, for people to learn from it. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to appreciate you for inviting me to your platform too. Yes. We've been here for a minute, but it seemed like
I was just about to say it's been a long time coming, and I'm gonna let you. I know it's getting late. It's done got so late over there, and you've been such a champion talking with me tonight, and I really, really appreciate you. I look forward to having more conversations with you. I definitely want to have. I would love to have the Exodus Alliance on so we could just really like show people what it is y'all doing, like see the alliance in its splendor. Because it's one thing for people, I'm learning that it's one thing to tell people something, but it's another thing to show people something. I would love it if we can get y'all together on here.
We're gonna work for it. We're gonna try to get you on our show too. In fact, before I go out, I gotta do a little shameless promotion.
Go ahead. Not shameless.
The Exodus Alliance Radio is back for another season. We have a new staff, a new production team. Myself, Kenya, my wife, a brother named Shakara. He's a Garveyite, strong Pan-Africanist from the UK, and his wife, Nihanda. All four of us will be playing the role of hosts. And once a month, we'll give you a show from the men's side, and once a month, we'll give you a show from the women's side.
Yeah.
And then within the Black Star Action Network International and the General Exodus movement, We also, our women have created a women's affairs, African Women's Empowerment Network called AWIN. And they have, yes, they have produced the AWIN show now. And so the AWIN show is going to be strictly African women empowerment programs, support. You know, one thing I love about culture here is that there's like a whole universe that women exist in that's just theirs. Yeah. And if a man go there, they will beat his ass out. And so, and I respect that. I respect it because I remember my aunties and them was like that. Like they had certain days where they would just get together and socialize, play spades, drink beer, smoke cigarettes, and talk shit. You know, listen to music. And it was just for them. But you never seen them like that at church. You didn't see them like that in their house. But they had a time where they got together and let loose. Yeah. And
we need that.
And we don't have it on the continent, man. We just so stuck up. You know, we could say, hey, man, guys, let's meet up and, you know, let's go down to Zimbabwe and get with the brothers and sisters down there and organize a trip and go. See what we can do to meet them, see what we can do to build down there. All parts of Africa is my interest. You know, I've been disappointed all my life with the way this shit is. So it don't matter where I'm at. Yeah. I just feel like Africa, we have to do better. One thing that helps us go to sleep at night, and this is the last thing I want to say, is that we're doing something to change what we inherited. We're doing something to change the world. Even if it's just this show, even if it's just these words. If we go to sleep tonight and we do not wake up, we died fighting. We died contributing. We died giving from ourselves to the collective for free. For free. And that's what it's about. Yeah. So in closing, I just really appreciate you for bringing me on. I know I've been talking a lot, it seems like, but it's important. It's important. A lot of people don't know me, and it's intentional. I don't want people all in my fucking business. Excuse my language. You know, but I don't want you all in my business. And I don't care about how you feel about that. But at least I'm honest enough to tell you that. So now we can operate together. You know what I'm saying? So I just appreciate you, yo. There's so many people that's doing great work. Some being called YouTubers and stuff like that. But I think that's a bit derogatory for people that do what you do.
I think so.
You do a lot more than just that. You know, I've seen your work. You said it's been a while since we were supposed to actually talk. And I think that's why when the people out there finally get to hear and see this conversation, probably be in parts, but by the time they get it, they'll understand that total strangers can know each other for eternity. And never know until they have the first conversation.
Absolutely.
And I told my wife before that I see people coming, but I don't know who they are or what their names are until they arrive. And I've always been like that. And it's a spidey sense that I have. When I meet people like RJ or you or but I meet the ones that I know, they got the same damn car as me. Because the way they acted, they got the same damn assignment as me. That's where we put all the differences aside. We get to know each other.
Exactly.
I don't care what you're doing that I ain't doing. I'm doing it now. I'm supporting it now. And we start there. That's what our ancestors have done on the continent and in the diaspora throughout our existence. Solve our problems.
Yes.
So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for everything. I will be breaking it up into pieces so that people can absorb it a little bit at a time. But this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to show people who Chief Foday is. I want people, because I think sometimes people, you see a post on Facebook or you see a conversation going on and people make assumptions and judgments, not knowing. And I think when you have a better understanding of where somebody's coming from, you can then digest better what they're giving you. And although sometimes you do what you're supposed to do as a man. Sometimes you have to be harsh. Sometimes you have to come strong, because at the end of the day, a lot of times people don't hear unless you give it to them tough. And I appreciate that, because in our culture, tough love is something that we have to have. If not,
it's love.
It's love. And we do it out of love. And I thank you for loving our people enough to keep pushing through, because I know we are a handful. We can be held.
Me included.
Yes, we can be held, and we have to hold on tight to what our ancestors have given us. They've given us some gifts. We all have our gifts. We got to walk in those gifts. And you, brother, are walking in your gift. Whatever mistakes you have made, whatever mistakes you may make in the future, you are walking in your gift. And I thank you for that. I thank you. You are doing it more gracefully than you probably even recognize. People like me appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's people like me. We appreciate you. We appreciate your rawness. We appreciate the integrity that you're walking in. And I encourage you to stay like that. Don't let nobody or none of these circumstances, because this shit gets tough. Don't let none of these folks, and I know you won't, but I have to still say it to you as your sister. Don't let none of this shit get you in a place where you just like, you know what? Because I know it's probably been plenty of times you've been like, fuck y'all. All these people. But we need.
I just remember why I'm doing.
We need.
Remember why I'm doing
it. And that's what I need. I'm glad you have Kenya there I know she encourages you, and it's always important to have a strong sister there to hold you up when you're ready to be like, I'm done with these folks. And
not only that, man. It's not only that, man. Listen, Kenya gets her own work in, man.
Yeah, I gotta get her on here. I gotta get her on because I want to talk about the work that she's doing and how I've been taking a social media break. So I haven't been on Facebook or Instagram or anything here recently. But I appreciate the things that I've seen her doing. I appreciate what you all are doing. RJ and Aaliyah, I absolutely love the work that I see them doing. I messaged Aaliyah recently because I want to get RJ on. That brother is brilliant. And I just think that we all just need to continue to support each other. I'm here. If you ever want to come on and just talk about whatever you got going on, we can do that. Whatever you need.
All right.
I got you. All right.
That's a bet. Thank you, sister, so much, man.
Thank you
so much.
You have a good night. Get you some rest, and we will be, as soon as I get this video cut up and start posting it up, I'll send them to you, because I'm not sure when I'll be back on social media, but I'll definitely start posting these videos. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night.
All right, sis, you too.